Hey guys, welcome back. So, one other thing very important that you should learn about programming is file input and file output. What does this really mean? This means that we can either enter data from our keyboard and see the results in our screen, or we can actually use files to read data from them and process them and finally print the data to our files. So actually we can use files as an input to our program, and we can use files as an output from our program. So what are files? How we can define files? A computer file is used to store data in digital format, in any content that we might like, in digital format like image data or plain text or anything else. So computer files can be organized inside different folders, inside different directories. Files are used to keep digital data, and directories are used to keep these files. Computer files can be considered as the digital counterpart of paper documents. It's exactly the same thing but digital. So in programming we keep our source code in text files. And the only difference from the text files that we use as input and we use as output and we use as our source code are the different extensions. For example, in C programming language the extension is .c. In C++ the extension is .c++, while in Java is .java, I'm sorry for my letters, and in Python is .py. Of course there are a lot of other languages with several extensions. So the extension is used to define what is the purpose of our programming files. So let's see some more things about file input and file output. Actually, we create files usually with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or even a Notepad. Although we need these editors to create files and to create content in these files, we can also use computer programs to write content into these files. So we can modify an existing file using a computer program. And file, we can use actually file to read or to write data. So file input means writing into a file, and reading something from a file is file output. You should think that we have a program and the program gets the output, and into the program there is an input. Sorry for my letters. So this input can be either file or not, or keyboard or something else. So we have an input and an output. So file input means that data is written into a file. File output means that data is read from a file. And input and output terms are actually more related with screen input and output. Screen means that we display a result on the screen. It is called output. We provide some input to our program from the command prompt, from the keyboard. This is called input. So it is enough to remember for now that writing in the file is file input and reading something from it is file output. So let's see some modes. Before we start working with any file using a computer program, we need to create a file if it does not exist, or we should define which file we should open to read the data, the content from it. So in each case, we can open a specific file with specific modes. So the first one is the read-only mode. So as you can see, this is the first one, read-only mode. This means that if we are going to just read an existing file and you do not want to write any further content in this file, then you can open the file in read-only mode. So almost all the programming languages provide specific syntax that we can open a specific file in read-only mode. So in read-only mode, we just read. Nothing else, we cannot write. There will be an error if we try to write in a file that we have opened it, we have already opened it in read-only mode. The second one is the write-only mode, and you can easily understand that we just write in this file. So we can either write into an existing file or create a new file if there is not a file already created. So you cannot read any written content from that file if you open this file with write-only mode. You can only write, and if there is a content already written, then this content is overwritten, so be careful. You can use this write-only mode if you would like to create a new file and to write specific content in this file. We can see later that there is the append mode if we would like to write more data in a specific file that has already data in it. The third mode is the read and write mode. And this means that you are going to read as well as write into the same file. So you can open the file in read and write mode if you would like to read and write at the same time. The fourth and very important mode that you should learn and you should use is the append mode. You can open a file for writing. It allows you to start writing from the beginning of the file. It will overwrite any existing content, if any. So this is what happens in write mode. Suppose we don't want to overwrite any existing content. If you don't want to overwrite any existing content, then you open this file in append mode. So don't overwrite. This means append mode. So append mode is a write mode which allows content to be appended, to be added at the end of the file. And all the programming languages provide specific syntax to open files in append mode or to open files in read mode, read-only mode, write-only mode, or in read and write mode. So now we will see how to open a fresh new file, how to write into it, and how to read and append more content into the same file. So let's go on and see specific modes that we can use to read and write data. So as you can see here, we can use, for example, in C and C++, we can use the built-in function fopen. I will write it right there. In this fopen, we define the mode that we would like to use in order to handle the file, and we should also define which is the file, what is the name of the file, where is it located, and of course, as I said to you, we should define in which mode the program should handle this file. So the first mode is the read-only mode. As you can see right here, we have the R, which means that we open an existing text file for reading purposes and only reading purposes. With the W, we open a text file for writing. If the file does not exist, then a new file is created, and then the program will start writing content from the beginning of the file. If this file has content, the content will be erased, will be overwritten. However, if we would like to open a file for writing in appending mode, then we will use the A mode. This means that if the file does not exist, again a new file will be created, but the program will start appending content if we have an existing file content in an old file. So the fourth one is the R+. This R+ means that we can open a text file for reading and writing. So with R+, we can use a specific file for reading and writing. W+ means almost the same, that we open a text file for both reading and writing. It first truncates the file to 0 length if it exists, so it overrides all the content. Otherwise, it creates the file if it does not exist. So in the first case, we start reading the file, and then we start writing in this file, while in the second one, first truncates the file to 0, so it deletes everything. We can write in this file, and then we can use this file to read the content that we wrote before. And finally, we have here the A, where the A stands for appending mode, as you can see. So right here, opens a text file for both reading and writing. It creates a file if it does not exist, and the reading will start from the beginning, but the important here is that writing can only be appended. This is the important here. So you can use A+ to use a text file for reading and writing. The reading will start from the beginning, while writing can only be appended. So let's see an example in writing a file in C++. Let's see some code. As you can see right here in C++, we have the default library input-output header that is included in almost every program and has all the basic functionalities for handling the most basic built-in functions input-output. So then we use our main function for our main program. We define a new variable, a new file variable. The type of the variable is type of file, called fp, and then we say that we would like to open the file that is stored in this location in temp directory, and the file is named test.txt. The mode that I would like you to use is W+. This means for both writing and reading. I would like to print this is test number 1, where in FP. What does this mean? In this file with W+ mode, so everything is okay. This means that you can print this line to the program, and you can change the line with /n, and then print the second line. This is test number 2. Change line in the same file, but as you can see here I use the built-in function fprintf, while here I use the built-in function fputs, f file put string, fprint file, and then I close the file with the fclose. Here I have fopen, here I have fclose, and I say which file I would like the program to close. So with this example, with this code, when this code is actually compiled and executed, it creates a new file test.txt in the temp directory tmp and writes 2 lines using 2 different functions, built-in functions, fprintf and fputs. The first line that will be printed means this is test number 1, as you can see right here. Then we change line, and the second line is this is test number 2, and again we change line. So this is a simple example in C++. Let's see the same example in Java. Again, you can see that we have imported in Java a specific input-output library, as you can see right here. Input-output. Java actually provides even richer set of functions to handle file input and output. So in this simple Java program, which is actually the same as the previous one, we will open a text file. As you can see, this is actually a program called demo Java. We have again a main function. This is almost the same for a simple input-output program, and we have a new file in the temp directory. The file is called jtest.txt. We create a new file again. We use the built-in function in Java, create a new file that is named as we defined in this variable file. And in Java we need a file writer object that uses the file object to start writing. So we define a writer, which is a new file writer, and we say that this is a file that you would like to handle, to write in this file. And then we start writing. We say writer.write, and again the message, we change line, again a second line, and we change line, and finally we clean the memory and close the file. We clean the memory with this one, with write.flash, and we close the file with writer.close. As you can see in Java, we don't define specific modes. I just use to create a file, and then I define a specific object, file writer or file reader, to write or read data in a specific file. So this will get us the output in this file, in this jtest.txt. The first line will be this is a test, as you can see. I will change line, and then I will print this is the second line of the test file, and then I will change line again. And finally, let's see exactly the same functionality, the same program in Python. So I would like to create a new file, and then as you can see, I define a variable called fo with which file, the name of the file and the directory that I would like to use. The w means that it is in a write mode. I would like to use this file and use the built-in function write to write in this file this is a test, and then change line and write again in this file this is the second line of the test file, and then close the file. And here it is actually for writing, the first one, while here is the example that I didn't see before for reading. So here I define again which file I would like to use, and I store it in the variable fo. This is the file. I would like to open it in read mode. Read the content of the file and store it in the variable str. So we read the content of the file fo. We print str, and we close the opened file. So in the first line we have this is a test. In the second line we have this is the second line of the test file. So I think that with these two examples, with three examples, I'm sorry, in the most popular languages like Python, Java and C++, you understood the value of the file handling, and at the same time you understood that this is something very, very simple and very valuable, because you can use files to store memory that you can reuse later as an input to the same or to another program. So you can use files to store permanently specific data output information that can be reused in the future as a specific input. So I think that you have already understood that a lot of magic things can happen in programming, in coding. Actually, you can do everything that you can imagine digitally with coding, with programming. So you can create files, delete files, modify files. You can create almost everything that you can imagine. Even you should remember that even viruses are programs. Even viruses that harm your computer are programs. So what does most viruses do? Most viruses delete content, delete vital content from your operating system, and this content is most of the times specific vital files that store valuable information about your operating system and your computer. So these viruses deletes these files and do all these uh, bad things in your computers, while antiviruses recreates these files to restore the functionality of your computer. So as you can understand, this is something really important to know, how you can create, you can modify, you can append content into files. So it's something really valuable to understand and to be able to use it in coding. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next lesson.